Agency in Motion Continuing Education Series. This series is designed and specifically for either producers or agency builders in the financial services industry to help you, build an agency or group of agencies in terms of operating, managing, building in this new environment. So today, really what we want to discuss is the role of emotional intelligence in sales. So how do we boost our closing rates with EQ sales? And EQ, we'll talk about in just a minute, is really just another word for emotional intelligence. So EQ itself is designed and defined as emotional quotient. So it's the ability to understand the thoughts and the feelings of somebody else. And this is very, very, very important because, sales reps with high EQ or emotional intelligence, they know how to put themselves in the customer's shoes. They hear their needs, they acknowledge their concerns, and they treat them accordingly. So, all the information, the material, the education is great, but if you can't make that connection with the other side, help them understand why you're the right person to talk to, you're the right person to help them solve their problems, get to their goals, then it's going to fall short. And when we talk about fall short, we mean in things like key areas like closing ratios, which is your revenue and income recognition. There's a combination really for success. That's IQ plus EQ. That's learning the material, learning the infrastructure, learning the processes. That's the IQ part. And then EQ is learning about yourself and then learning about your prospects, because you can't be everything to everybody. We've talked about this before. So the more you are dialed into a persona, the more you are continually talking to that persona, the easier it becomes to develop that emotional intelligence or the EQ. So the combination of IQ plus EQ equals a lot of success in the sales environment. Now, we are talking about sales today, but you can use this in any part of your business to better your marketing, better your management, like we're talking about today, better your education and sales process. Emotional intelligence is just all about emotions, understanding them, managing them, using them, and perceiving them. Like I said, once you're able to read the other side and connect with the other side in a meaningful way, a lot of what you're trying to do comes across in a more positively received environment. Emotional intelligence, you guys can see right here that, is nearly 4 times more powerful than IQ in predicting success. So the ability, like I said, to connect with people is a huge part of what we do. High emotional intelligence levels outperformed annual targets by 15 to 20%. Think about the ripple effect if you're building an agency where you can do this for yourself, teach other people, and you have this ripple effect of, smashing through annual targets consistently. That's going to have a huge, positive impact on what you're trying to do for your partners, for yourself, for the people that you influence on the client side. And then, when you're looking at becoming more productive, when you adopt an environment of emotional intelligence, it allows you to be more productive. And finally, it's one of the top 10 job skills continuously in this new kind of economic environment we find ourselves in. So as an educator, as a salesperson, we're leading people into buying decisions. Part of what you're doing with that is being able to read and connect with them, because you're providing a pathway, a roadmap to get to an end desired outcome. If you don't know what that is, you're not able to explore what that is, you're not able to put yourself and your potential client there. What does it look like? How does it feel? All of these things that are involved with emotional intelligence is designed to provide you, like I said, with the ability to close and create revenue, create income, create growth for your business, because you're going to be only as good as your emotional intelligence in sales. So the better that you can read, the better that you can connect with these people, the more sales you're going to bring in, and the bigger book you're going to build, or the bigger agency you're going to build, depending on what you're trying to accomplish here in this industry. There's 4 really quadrants. And so when you talk about self-awareness, self-regulation, awareness of other, and building relationships, this is about personal competence and relational competence. Once you understand both sides, yourself and your others, and how to, deal with yourself in a way that allows you to connect with other people, build those relationships, communicate effectively, manage conflict, build influence. All the things that we're trying to do are found right here. So once you understand, it's two-sided. It's myself and my ability to connect and read other people. So let's take a little small example here. We give out reports, and a lot of those reports are going to be the same. The only thing different is going to be the data and the numbers in those reports. So, when we're presenting a report, think about coming back to somebody two different ways. Hey, I'm thrilled at the solution that we designed for you, and so glad we've had the opportunity to speak about it today. Enthusiastically, with energy, emphasizing certain words. If you're on screen share, meeting them one-on-one, whatever it is, great smile and eye contact. You're genuinely excited for them about what you're getting ready to present to them versus, hey, our team came up with a few ideas after we met. I'm going to tell you about them now, see what you think. Matter of factly stated, spoken clearly, but really no inflection. And look at the neutral expression. There's no excitement there. There's no real good eye contact there. So you can say the same thing in a number of different ways and get vastly different reactions and results from the other side. Be excited about what you can do for the other side. When you are presenting your presentation, when you're taking your business or whatever you're trying to do in this industry, when you're creating the infrastructure, creating the educational material, and presenting what you're trying to present, there's obviously going to be a learning process. And that learning process is really broken down into four things. It's the information. You have to know what you're talking about. Then secondarily, you have to have transition so it doesn't sound choppy. It sounds natural. You have to have the reasons, the reasons that you do this, the reasons other people would do this, the kind of the qualifying or the disqualifying phase. And then you have to know how to close. And part of what we're talking about today has to do with closing, because the emotional intelligence, the ability to read, connect, influence people is all going to be very, very impactful on whether or not you have high or low closing rates. Remember, there's not a lot of separation from high performers to low performers. One of the things that we're talking about that makes that separation today is emotional intelligence. So the best way to correct the wrong information that most of our prospects have is to provide them with the right information. There's different ways of doing that. You have to open people's eyes, and you have to open their minds in a way that is impactful, but also provides them with a sense of empowerment. You're not always talking down to people, telling them they're doing things wrong for so long. You're helping inspire them to take new action steps based on a number of different reasons. So it's the reverse thinking mentality. So it's not, for example, what someone does for their paycheck, how they earn their money. It's a lot dependent on what they actually do with their paycheck. So, the ability to get information across in an emotionally intelligent way is something that once you perfect and master it and can teach other people, your business will be booming with affluence and growth and trajectory. You have to have enough of those light bulb moments with your prospect. Remember, you're trying to teach, you're trying to empower, you're trying to place them on a new trajectory to get to a end outcome they actually desire. So the more times that you can, incorporate things like yes into the conversation, the more times that you can have the light bulb moment with your prospect, the more apt they're going to be to want more information, to want to take additional action steps with you. At the end of the day, this is all we're doing. We're taking a mess that most of our clients have in terms of their mental and their financial state, and you're just unwinding this. You're providing a pathway designed to get them to a desired end outcome. And once they understand, hey, this person's on my side, they're trying to help me, they can help me, it becomes a lot easier to open up, have those conversations. And like we've always talked about, part of your job being emotional intelligence and bringing that into what we talk about with these prospects is the ability to get them talking. It's not always about you. It's about being able to let somebody open up, give some information out, and that information will always, guys, uncover something they want to do, uncover a problem, something that now we can step in at the appropriate moment in the conversation with the solution and the action step. You have to make them feel good about the process. This is about inspiring people. This is about empowering people. This is about letting them know they can create a, financial outcome they're actually excited about, they actually desire. So remember, when you're laying out the pathway, make sure to do so in a way that makes the other side feel good about this, because at the end of the day, when you are finishing meetings, when you're finishing phone conversations with prospects, you want them to feel excited about the next meeting. You want them to feel excited about the potential outcomes of the future that you're laying out. If they're not excited, then they're not excited about the next action step. If that's a meeting, if that's an application, whatever it might be, if that's a cart checkout, then you're going to have people drift. If they're not excited about meeting with you next time, then the show rates on your next meetings, the show rates on your next action steps, your conversion rates, they're all going to suffer. Because the other way that they're going to get off the meetings and conversations with you is, duh, what have I done? What am I doing? Why am I talking to this person? I feel like I'm being sold. They talk down to me, whatever it is. That kind of person is never going to show up for another meeting with you, never going to take an action step with you, never going to buy anything from you. So you have to understand the way that you start a conversation and the way you end a conversation. Very, very, very important. You get what you negotiate. And guys, this is something very, very important, not just with, vendors that you're dealing with and outside businesses, but these are actually with your prospects. What are you trying to negotiate? Because it's a two-way commitment. You're trying to take them somewhere. You need them to commit. You're going to make a commitment. If both of you guys can agree on the commitment and negotiate how you're going to build this relationship, that's a mutually beneficial relationship, it's much easier to talk about, this is what we do next. This is why we're doing it next. And speak their language, not yours. Remember that, being everything to everybody is going to be a losing proposition, because you come out as fake and not really authentic. If you're dialed into a persona, you understand where that persona is, what message you're going to bring to that persona that resonates with a decent percentage of those, it becomes easier to talk to those people. And then all of a sudden, you're preemptively overcoming typical obstacles that that your persona has before they even bring it up. It becomes easier to do what we do. So having a persona, understanding who you're trying to talk to, why, where to find these people, that's all very important in developing some of what we're talking about today, which is bringing emotional intelligence to the table. Emotions are going to influence all parts of decision making. We are emotional creatures. You have to understand that. So yes, facts are important, but facts tell, stories sell. So you have to make sure that you bring the information and education, onto, the marketplace and onto the environment in a way that actually is something that doesn't bore them to death, doesn't confuse them, actually helps them understand how you're going to help them. Whether it's fear, anger, sadness, joy, disgust, trust, anticipation, or surprise, these are human emotions. This is what we think and that we feel, and this is going to drive a lot of our decisions. Think about the stock market, you guys. It's basically, you can talk about income and balance sheets and cash flows and industries and sectors all you want to, but at the end of the day, stock market's driven by fear and greed. How many sell tickets do I have versus how many buy tickets do I have? That's what's going to influence price, and that's an emotional roller coaster. Because we are feeling first creatures, those agents that can find emotional opportunities in their prospect and client interaction, they stand to get the best results by far. Low emotional intelligence means trouble for your sales performance, because people don't want to do business with somebody they don't like. Doesn't matter how great of a product you have, they don't like you, probably not going to do business with you. How do emotions affect sales? Well, remember, emotional selling means arousing emotions in prospects to persuade them into buying your product, not selling it, but leading them with buying decisions. Every decision we make is influenced by emotion. When you're facing a decision, feelings from past experiences will create bias in your choice. So understand, where we stand today is just a combination of a bunch of small decisions we made up to this point. If people have made bad decisions in the past, one of their biggest fears is making bad decisions in the future. So they just shut down from making any decision at all. I spent $23,000 one time on a course, and I got little to nothing out of it. When I was done with the course, I felt like there was zero value. I just wasted $23,000. If I based all my future decisions about that, wouldn't be where I am now. So you have to understand, yeah, we've all made, and the older you get, the more regrets and the more bad decisions that you make. But the bad decisions of yesterday don't have to be the bad decisions of tomorrow. It's all about helping people understand what they want to get, how they're going to get there, what they need to do, how you fit in the picture, etc. And a lot of that goes right back to what we're talking about: being able to connect with somebody, being able to read with somebody, being able to influence somebody. Inspiration to take action. There's a bunch of different reasons that people would take action. Let's talk about a few of them. Having confidence in the future, mapping out that end desired outcome, perceive the future as better than the past, enjoy a sense of well-being. What we're trying to do is create control and peace of mind. And that creates like a stress-free state without conflicts or threats. Believing that what you have in place right now is sacred, taking actions to improve that. And then, the desire for ongoing self-improvement, developing into the person I want to be. Security, believing that what I have today will be there tomorrow. I can pursue my goals and dreams without worry and succeed in life. Feel they have meaningful lives, find worth that goes beyond financial or social economic issues. Remember, if I'm worried about paying the mortgage, or I'm worried about saving for my kids' college, or whatever that is, that doesn't allow me to go into other parts of my life. Once you start to break down some of these financial obstacles, it paves the way to explore other parts of our life. And that goes into being a more well-rounded person, extracting more value out of the life. There's two categories really, and two approaches to emotional selling. There's a positive and a negative. There's always the carrot and the stick, so to speak. The negative approach is far more commonly used by salespeople. Essentially, it means presenting your product as a cure or a prevention for the prospect's biggest pain. On the other hand, a positive approach presents the product as something that will cause good things to happen in the future. Most prospects are going to respond better to one approach or the other. So it's a good idea to probe, see early on which type of prospect that you have. I like to blend both of these. So I like to create a positive approach in terms of, hey, you can map out, like we talk about, a desired end outcome, but also the negative approach is like a warning. If you don't do that, then you're just going to drift into an unknown outcome. So you can go one or the other, depending on who you're talking about, or straddle both sides of the fence. Positive qualifying questions. And this is all, once again, probing questions. And when you're an emotionally intelligent salesperson, you're trying to ask questions that get people talking about their situation. Where do you see yourself a year from now? What did you hope to gain from this meeting? How long have you been thinking about whatever it is they're trying to gain? These questions touch on the client's positive emotions related to the product and give you some clues as to their expectations, what they're expecting, what they're trying to do, what they're hoping for. When you get somebody talking, another quality of being emotional intelligence is being able to probe a little bit more. So when you get somebody talking, don't just wait for them to stop so you can start talking again. Remember, this is not about you. Continue. Please tell me more about that. Expand on that. Get them talking more. The more information you get from the other side, the easier it's going to be for you to understand what they're trying to do and help them understand how to accomplish that. So ask yourself, what emotion will this product give the customer? Remember, like we just said, this is not about you. You're having to identify your customer's desired emotion. You have to paint a picture, tell a story, and close the sale. Remember, facts tell, stories sell. So you have to package this information up in a storybook-like format to keep people's attention, to make it so it's not a bunch of industry language or jargon. This is about being able to take them through step-by-step process to lead them to a buying decision. And not only a buying decision that they're excited about. A to B. What is B? Where is B? Talk about B, because just getting, mapped out from A to B, that's what we can do. But what is B? What are we trying to get to? What are we trying to avoid? Who's there at B? Where are we? Who are we surrounding ourselves with? How does it feel? All of those things are very important, because if somebody doesn't want to go somewhere, they have no idea what they're trying to accomplish, they don't need our help. They don't need my help to go nowhere. On the other hand, if somebody's painted that picture for me and I really understand what they're trying to accomplish, now I'm going to hone in on helping them try to understand how we're going to accomplish that in the most efficient way. Remember, what are you really selling? You're selling affluence, status, reassurance, time, convenience, pleasure, personal empowerment. Once again, this is about talking to people, having a discovery period, trying to understand the person that you're talking to. And once again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, if you have a persona that you're dialed into, you're probably selling the same type of thing over and over and over again because you're talking to the same types of people over and over and over again. Buying emotions. So these 6 emotions are going to make your customers buy. Greed. If I make the decision now, I'm going to be rewarded. Fear. If I don't make the decision now, I'm toast. Altruism. If I make a decision now, I'm going to help others. Envy. If I make a decision now, my competition will win. Pride. If I make a decision now, I'll look smart. Shame. If I don't make a decision now, I'll look stupid. These 6 emotions, they straddle both the carrot and the stick, kind of, right? It's the negative and the positive reaffirmations of what's going to make them take that next action step. Understand who you're dealing with, what's going to be the trigger points or emotional points for them to get them to take that next action step. At the end of the day, man, all we are doing is we're showing people the way, but that's a way to something that they desire. And that's one of the biggest things that you have to understand. It's not about us, not about the information that we've learned. That's very important. We can relay over, but we're maps. We're making action plans to get them somewhere. Once again, the emotional intelligence part of this is helping to read the other side, connect the other side, and influence the other side in a way. Remember, you're not creating a business, off the backs of other people. This is a win-win-win. It's a win for your clients, a win for you, it's a win for your partners. So be confident going out there, be obsessed about helping people, and watch what happens to your business. You also, when you're talking to people, if they're unwilling, if you've done everything and you've combined the IQ with the EQ and you've done a good job and they're still unwilling, sometimes you have to hockey check these people because, let's paint a picture. What do you think will happen if you do nothing? Well, let me ask you another question, or let me ask you something. Wouldn't it be great if you just did nothing at all? You made no changes and something magical just happened and all the stars aligned and everything worked out for you? And what do you think the possibility, the probability of that happening? So you have to make sure that you are leading people, you're establishing authority, you're building rapport, trust, credibility. But then if you found what they want and you mapped out a way, make sure that you're able at the end of the day to close this down. So emotional intelligence, as far as the role in sales, marketing, and management, cannot be overlooked. Today, we talked about different elements of the sales part and why emotional intelligence will help you. If you master the emotional intelligence side of this business, will help you explode your book or your agency. On the other hand, if you neglect it, it will have a detrimental effect to building that book or the agency. Agency in Motion, brought to you by Millionaire Mindset Life. Stretch your thinking, create your vision, and achieve.